Okay, I'm going to briefly discuss the data analysis practice project. So altogether, this is going to take us 3 weeks. So the first week is writing your hypothesis, and then you'll get some feedback on that and collecting the data. You do get a choice of accounts. It's a very limited choice, and it's one account. You're just choosing one account. But it's a practice project for a reason. It's a practice project, so we're keeping it really small. So you want to focus this week on making sure that your hypothesis answers the research question. It's really, really, really important. Your hypothesis also needs to be measurable data. So when I ask you to start really thinking through what can you count and what can you measure, that matters. What we can't measure from posts that are historical, and historical is literally 24 hours old, we cannot measure audience growth over time. Period. You're not going to be able to measure it in the next one either. That is beyond the scope of what we're capable of doing here. And honestly, that kind of a research question is much more suited for a graduate thesis, not an undergraduate project. But it is what it is, right? So really focus on what you want your hypothesis to be and what you can learn from the posts that you're collecting data on and from the posts that you're collecting. And then focus on that hypothesis and then use the data chart that I've provided. You can handwrite it, but I don't recommend handwriting it because you want to graph it, and the easiest way to graph it is going to be using the button in Excel or using the button in Google Sheets or using the button in Numbers to create the graph for you and then make a few minor tweaks to it. So I would recommend using Excel or Google or Numbers. Microsoft Excel is the program that is provided and supported through Millersville University, so it is always going to come first for me. It is always going to be the one that I highly recommend, although the other two will work. Okay, so the first part of the project is going to be that data collection. The steps are laid out, so make sure you go through the steps, go through the notes that I've provided for you to help with that. I give you the sample data chart. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. I give you the sample data chart. You have to fill it in with current data, but use the columns that I have in this chart and fill it in. Okay, so then part 2, you're going to draft it. I have a lot of information in that week on how to create the graphs, how to use the graphs effectively, what graphs are showing when it comes to humanities research, what to do with the posts. So make sure you look over those extras because I'm expecting all of that to happen in the final draft. Then get as much of the rough draft as you can possibly get done so that you get the most amount of feedback from me. And then part 3 is going to be the final draft. So you will get feedback from me, you'll get feedback from your peers so that you can go from rough draft to final draft. Keep in mind the final draft does require a reflection letter. The questions for the reflection letter are posted here in the assignment sheet. So make sure at the end that you create a letter that you submit with your final project. If you have any questions as you're going through this, send me a note on Tumblr. Come to office hours. Send me a note so that I know to open up my Zoom for office hours, or send me an email. All of these are ways to reach me so that I can help you do the best you can on this particular assignment. Or if you have any questions, ensure that your questions are answered so that you're not, spinning your wheels. I want you to be successful, and I want you to understand everything that you're doing. So if you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you online.